Hey guys, I'm Brendan. Welcome to Nerdish. Levi is running the computer right now. I'm back. Can you? I think that might have got messed up there. Yeah, we can change that in a sec. Mm-hmm. Tonight I'm going to be covering logarithms.
And I'll be doing vocab and context.
Mm-hmm. I think that was it. Yeah. Great. I'm just going to start.
Sure.
I need to grab some markers real quick.
Mm-hmm. I'll stay on here so nobody gets scared being alone.
We don't want them scared.
Yeah. Don't be afraid.
Don't be like Brady.
Yeah, feel free to debrief the ACT if you want to, if you have any comments on it.
Yeah, if you guys have any things you want to share, we can talk about them. I think maybe for legal reasons, if we get big enough for people to care, we should say that you shouldn't tell us that the questions you have, if they're specific questions, are from this most recent ACT. Because if we know that, we probably can't answer them. But if you just have questions, we can answer questions.
It would be best if you figured out, okay, well, it's testing me on this math,
topic,
so
this
do that.
topic, yeah. Anyway. All right. That's what you call covering your butts. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Logs or logarithms. So, what is a logarithm? It's going to look like the log of some base. You do it 10. You know what? I like generalizing this. So let's say, what does the vector addition graph look like? Jet blue.
Is that just now?
Yeah, I said that right now.
Okay.
Hint, hint. Okay.
Very nice.
Vector addition graph. All right. Jet blue. Great. Actually, just so we don't forget, jet. And I should have written that in blue marker, and that would have been really clever, but I already was using orange. Sorry. Also, good to see you, jet blue. How was the test? Log. So if you have log base b of a equals c, that means b to the c equals a. So to make it a little bit simpler, or maybe just something a little bit more familiar, let's say the log base 2 of 8 is going to be 3, because we know that 2 to the third, right, the base 2, oh, that's what I did. Oh, yeah. 2 to the third equals 8. All right, our base b, our answer a is now the exponent, and c, what it was, is now over. Sorry, a is now over here. Anyway, I'm getting all messed up because of the different variables here. This back and forth is the key thing to remember. I thought the reading was easy, cash, but all of Reddit thought it was terrible. English and science were not too bad. I think I probably got 10 wrong on math. Okay. If you know what types of math problems they were that were a little more difficult for you, let us know, and we can go over those. Do you have something to say?
Oh, no, it's just jet blue.
Jet blue, cool. Yeah. Do you mind?
I can do vector addition graph stuff.
Okay, cool.
We talked about that at the end of the last session, but yeah, cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing that? Also, possibly
on
online? Yeah,
yeah.
To that group? Cool. Nice. So, anyways, logs. This is the basic relationship between logarithms and exponents that you need to be aware of. If you remember this and you know exponents, logarithms are pretty easy. If you remember this and you know logarithms and you don't know exponents, which is a little unlikely but possible, it makes exponents a lot easier. That's because they have a lot of the same rules. So let's do the product rule, right? You know what? Yeah, I'll just go ahead. Product rule.
That group again?
Teen college. So the product rule. Do you have another pink over there, Levi? This one's working right now, but it's dying on me fast. Yeah, that's way better.
Okay.
Thanks.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Brady writes really hard when he does it. Yeah, so he just
I think it's actually being lefty, because we write we can kind of pull away.
Oh, and he has to write.
He's jamming with
That's
his
probably
left
it.
hand.
Because we definitely didn't go through these as quickly before he was here.
Yeah.
Brady, you're going to be like watching through this to see what you need to edit and not. This is for you. Stop. Just be right-handed. Just be better. The chat agrees. You can't see them right now, but they agree.
Hundreds of people in
Hundreds
chat
of people
are
agree.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the product rule. So for an exponent, that's going to look like x squared times x squared, right? We get x to the fourth. What's it look like here? Let's say we have log base 2 of, and I'm just going to say xy. I don't really care what the value is. Okay, now if we think about this, the reason we get 4 is because we're adding these two, right? So this is going to give us 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? Also not a great pink. It's whatever. So this is what the product rule is for exponents. For logs, it's very similar. We can break this down into the log base 2 of x.
You were going to log that one.
Ooh, it's fresh.
Yeah, it is.
Plus, yeah, the log base 2 of y. So those are the same thing. We're going to keep going. Let's do the quotient rule. All right, Levi, spell check me on here. Quotient rule?
Yes, sir.
All right. I read a lot, but I really don't write well. Oh, yeah. Give me 2 seconds.
You want me to do quotient rule?
No, I want to double
Okay.
check the name of the identity one and then what they call the fancy other one.
Very good.
0. Cool. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I thought I might have time for vector addition graph, but I do not.
Nope. All right, quotient rule, very similar. Log base 2 of x over y. That equals, if you have an exponent, x to the third over x squared, you're getting x to the 3 minus 2. Same thing here. You're now saying the log base 2 of x minus the log base 2 of y. Normally, we don't always go over the exponent rules as we do the log rules, but I feel like it's a really good way to kind of make the connection. Lots of times, math can be difficult if you don't have a starting point, and most of you watching this have expressed or should have a general understanding of exponents. If you don't, let us know. We can cover those more thoroughly. But it helps to have like a reference point to be able to pull from as you go through and learn about logarithms. So that's the quotient rule. What else did I want to do? Ooh, the, no, this is a fancy name, but you have the log base 2 of x squared. What does that equal? Levi, why can't I remember the name of this? You always do this. It's not the product rule.
Power rule?
Power rule. Thank you.
Yes.
Too much power. Right? The power rule. So if I have exponents again, I have x cubed, x squared, and the whole thing is cubed, that's going to give me x to the 2 times 3. I multiply those, right? Because I have 3 instances of x squared, which is going to give me x to the 6th. Same process here. I'm going to actually pull out this 2, and I get 2 log base 2 of x. Also, if there are any questions, let me know. Let's underline that. Yeah. Next, we have identity rule. So for exponents, that is x to the 0 equals 1. Right? You follow that a little bit. So now you have log base, what do I want here? 2 of 2 equals, oh no, that's the wrong one. That's going to be the, there's the 0 rule and the identity rule. So this one is that. I did the 0 rule, hold on. 0 rule is going to be log base 2 of 1, 0. Because x to the 0 equals 1. Right? Switch those up real quick. Identity rule though, log base 2 of 2 equals 1. Same thing. So x to the 1 equals x. All right. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to clean this up and do a couple quick examples. And then, yeah, we're going to jump over to Levi, and I guess he'll do vector addition and then jump into vocabulary and context.
Hey, JetBlue, are you here?
JetBlue, let us know if you're still here.
That guy should be pretty... Oh, we need... Or you don't. I do.
Oh, man, come on. Yo. Yeah, they're still here.
Cool.
Come on.
I just refilled it, so
Okay.
it's going to be a little weird.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure, in the most recent question where you saw this type of thing, JetBlue, how was it worded? Were the answer choices that you're given, were they, was it in the form of here are 4 different graphs, five different graphs that have different, vectors on them? Was that the setup and you were choosing between them? The answers were 5 graphs. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. I think we talked about this on Friday. Could have been Thursday. I don't remember.
With
vectors
3 lines.
with 3 lines. Interesting.
So 3 separate vectors?
I guess.
X, Y, Z.
Okay.
Let's hope it's not 3-dimensional.
Oh yeah, was this a 3-dimensional thing?
They wouldn't. The drawing that would be pretty rough. So no, I doubt it.
X plus Y equals Z. Okay.
Oh,
nice. That's not too bad. Okay, so let's say that we have this vector X equals...
Ooh, that's a nice marker.
1, yeah, it kind of is. For maybe 2 more seconds, who knows.
Yeah.
1, -2. And then we have Y equals 2, 4. Okay? So, nope, 2D. Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to draw them both here real quick. So this is going to be 1, 2. So do you know how to draw vectors in general, or are you starting from 0, JetBlue? Did you not know how that third vector interacted with addition, or was it, I don't know vectors, I'm very unhappy right now? Which was it? Yeah, you took physics. Very good. I also took physics. I didn't like it.
I liked it in high school. I didn't like it in college.
Yeah. So this is vector 1, right? The 1, -2, or vector x, 1, -2. We have the direction and magnitude. Same thing with this next one, y, which is 2, 4. So this would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now with vector addition, what you do is you put the tail to the head. That's what you do. So you take the second one and you draw it here. Does that make sense? So you put the tail of, this is x here, and this is y. So now we're going to take y and do the same thing. So it's over 2 up 4, so over 2 up 4, so it'll be here.
Okay.
Yep.
It just looks like, maybe I'm at a bad angle over here.
Yeah.
But it looks like that point is under the 2 on the x. But yeah, you're good.
Yeah, it's a little messy. So now I draw it there. I hope this is big enough.
It should be fine regardless of what quadrant they were in.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. So algebraically, all you do to find this vector...
Z.
What was that supposed to be? I was just kind of rubbing this on the board. So if x
Isn't that
plus
all writing is?
y... Fine.
Sorry.
Yes, no, okay. So if x plus y is z, then z would just be... You add these down, that's all. So you get 3...
2?
Yes. I knew. I just wrote the wrong thing. Okay, so you get 3, 2, which is... So now we've done vector x, vector y, added to the head of vector y, or vector x, and then this is our new vector.
Vector z is from the same starting point as vector x and the end point of vector y.
Yeah, so to be bigger and clearer, it's like that, where the origin is there. So x, y, and then z is from the tail of the first one to the head of the second, and that's z.
Yep. Does that make sense?
That is how you do vector addition algebraically, graphically. Yes, very good.
Ooh, great.
So hopefully this helped you on your last test. Yeah. Word. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
All right, I've got one or two kind of difficult log problems I want to go over.
Ooh, yeah.
I think just one big one that kind of does a number of things.
Also, JetBlue, let me just might as well. Subtraction. This way, it's the same thing. So if you're subtracting y here, it's just 1 minus 2, so you get -1.
Yep.
And then -2 minus 4 is -6. So why did I do that?
You're just having a rough go of it.
I am. So this time, you have x going down like that, and y, the original y, was like this. So instead of putting the tail starting at the head of y and moving there, or starting at the head of x and moving there with y, you now put them head to head. So
They didn't give you the components. They just said for some vector x and vector y, what graph shows x plus y.
Yeah, so this doesn't help you.
They're probably looking for all three of those, or...
Yeah, then it's probably just arrowheads. That's probably what it was. Yeah. Head, that's for addition.
Yeah, all three. Okay.
And then, so if this is... Ooh, so this is cool. All right, and then if we do...
Subtract 2...
X, Y, Z here. This is subtraction because we have the heads of X and Y together. So we've done X minus Y because we've basically flipped Y, and this is Z.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we have X, Y, and then Z is going, just to confuse you, the other direction, then this is...
Yeah, it would be Y minus X.
Y minus X. Because...
You want to write X minus 1 on that one?
Yeah.
All right.
So this is X, Z equals X minus Y. This is Z equals Y minus X.
You chose the one that looked like a triangle because that's what you sort of remember, but that wasn't it, as I've now discovered.
Yes, so it's the starting one. Subtraction matters. Addition, yeah, this...
I mean, they're always going to end up looking like a triangle if you have 3, right? Like
yeah,
you have or a line or a point, but you're going to...
Yeah, I mean, Y plus X is... I mean, if you start with Y...
Well, I guess if it's a straight...
up like that, and then you do X, and you go like that, your Z is still going to have the same direction and magnitude. But yeah, it's not going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be all going in the same direction. All the arrowheads will not be doing that. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of like an addition subtraction family, which maybe is how you learned addition and subtraction at least 10 years ago, where
so long ago.
You know, if this plus this is this one, but now that also means that this minus that equals that one. Yeah, the arrowheads are interesting. I want to talk to Brady about that. Because we had actually talked about how this doesn't normally happen, these arrowhead things. Okay. If you have any other questions, JetBlue, please ask them.
All right, great. Now, to go back over a couple of examples with logs. Are you good, dude?
I'm just getting out of your way.
So we went over all of the basic rules for logs and everything you would need to know for the tests. Let's just go ahead and write it up here so people tuning in know what we're going over. Can you add putting commas around names in the queue?
Sure.
Yeah, non-essentials. Great. Absolutely, CB Turtle. So for logs, one practice problem I like using is the log base 3 of 27, and I'll just throw some values here. Z squared. Okay? If I said to simplify this or to break this down, how could you do that, right? Or equals what? Right? If I wanted to get this in the simplest form possible. Now this is the most concise form, but arguably not the simplest. All right? The first thing I would do, because of the product rule, is I know I can write this as log base 3 of 27 plus the log base 3 of x cubed plus the log base 3 of z squared. All right, so this is my first step. Or I guess this is what I start with, my next step. I'll just keep writing these down. From here, I can actually solve log 3 of 3, but I'm going to go ahead and write it out why it's going to end up like that. All right. 27 is 3 cubed, so I'm going to write that. So then we have here, what I'm going to do for both of these is going to be the power rule. So I'm going to bring the 3 out and the 2 out. So I have 3 times the log base 3 of x plus 2 times the log base 3 of z. Now, I did a couple of steps here. Does everything here make sense? If not, let me know. Levi, were you able to do that on my computer?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Did you also do that with just regularly?
I can do that for mine, because I'm not actually part of Team College Prep, but I'll do it for mine.
No, I mean just general Facebook. Share it on my public.
Oh, you want me to do that from here? So,
yeah. Also, if you leave that pulled up to the video, it won't shut off. Again, any questions, let me know. From here, I know, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'll make a new tab.
Why are you out here? All right. Hold on. You can. Foolish.
I'm gonna do it.
Also, why would you exit a tab I had pulled open?
Because you hate having a lot of tabs.
False. Also, the guy I now work with as well,
Yeah.
I glanced at his computer because he was showing me some stuff. He has more tabs than I do. I've never met anyone who does that.
So
I've never seen someone with more tabs than me open, and I was impressed.
It's pretty unsafe, dude.
It's not at all. It's not going to do anything.
Alright.
Pretty sure I was the one who studied that part of computers. All right. From here, we know that we can pull this 3 out, so it's going to be 3 times, and kind of 2 steps here, the log base 3 of 3, identity rule is just 1, and then it's plus, bringing all this down, plus the same stuff, I'm going to drag it down. So I end up with 3 plus 3 times log 3 base 3 of x plus 2 times the log base 3 of z. Oh, that died fast. Okay. Any questions? Make sense? Is it confusing? Great. Let's go ahead. I'll do the commas question. So CB Turtle, can you give me an example of a sentence? If not, I'll make one up and run with it, but give me an example of what that might have looked like. Something with the commas. Name before the commas or name in between the 2 commas. You'll send a pic in Discord. All right. For those of you watching and who are not on Twitch, they are going to be posting the question in the Discord. The link to our Discord can be found in our description, or if you're in Twitch, you can find it below. You can also just type in !Discord and it'll pull it up. It'll be auto posted in the chat. For those of you who are unaware, I guess, because Facebook Live, Discord is just a free group messaging application so that everybody can see the same, the same messages. All right, so this is going to be commas. Let's see this. CB Turtle. So it looks like, ooh, yeah. So we're dealing with commas and possibly dashes. Ooh. I like this one a lot. This is a trick one, Levi. So for those of you, go ahead and pull this up on your phone or on a side thing, but it's saying, shoot. In 2011, knitter Jessie Hemmons decided she'd had enough of people snapping pictures of the bronze statue of Rocky, a fictional boxer, in front of the Philadelphia Museum of Art without ever going inside, and it continues on, but that's more than enough information here. So we have no change, and that is knitter Jessie Hemmons. No commas, no anything. The next one is knitter. Actually, let's just go ahead. Knitter Jessie Hemmons, H. All right, so this is what it is. You have no change. Right, you have dashes for Jessie, H. You have commas for Jessie, H. And Jess. and then you have a comma at the end. So, comma. These are our 4 options. Oh, Brendan, that's silly. Okay, these are 4 options. Now, when we're talking about commas around names, normally what we mean, normally we're dealing with non-essentials. Ooh, this is a nice marker. Okay, normally non-essentials are what we're dealing with. In CB Turtle, if you have a question, if you're not familiar or whatever, we can go into this a little more detail. Essentially, though, what a non-essential is we have it would be between commas or dashes. It would be something that you could remove entirely from the sentence and just read it as if it were not there, and it would make sense. So let's go ahead and do that. So right now we have, in 2011, knitter Jessie Hemmons decided she'd had enough of people snapping pictures of the bronze statue. We'll end it there as if that's the end of it. If we have no change, seems okay, right? So maybe. How about Jessie H with the dashes? So both of these actually are going to be non-essentials, which for me means that I can cross both of them off immediately. Kind of a little pro tip. If you saw a math equation and it said a math problem and you had A, B, C, and D, and you had the answers being 4, 2 squared, 3, and the square root of 16. Your answer is C. I don't care what the question is. It's 4, 4, and 4. Right? Although I guess technically this could be a negative, but we'll say positive square root of 16. This is the same principle. These 2 options are the same. The only reason you would have hyphens or dashes here, technically dashes, instead of a comma is a stylistic preference. They do the same purpose. They serve the same purpose in this context. So, I know those are not it. Now, the reason it's not going to be a non-essential, even if only one of these was an option, is because it would say, in 2011, knitter decided she'd had enough of people snapping pictures of the bronze statue of Rocky. In this case, knitter is the title. It is her title, and so they're saying the whole thing, right? President Trump. You wouldn't say President something, something, something. You'd say President Trump did this, right? President Trump tweeted yesterday. You wouldn't say President tweeted yesterday. That doesn't make sense. That does not work. Grammatically, it is incorrect. Same thing here. You can't just say knitter did this. It's knitter Jessie H did this. So that is why, even if only one of these were a given option, it is not a non-essential. That information is actually essential to this sentence. CB Turtle, so far is this making sense? The next thing is that the reason this is going to be wrong, yes, it does. Good. So there's a comma here, and before knitter there's a comma. So in theory, you could have this whole thing right here be a non-essential. However, in 2011, decided she'd had enough people, still doesn't work. Also, you'd have to have, there's another thing that this could be. You could have the first part of this in 2011, comma, which be a non-essential, which it is, right? In 2011, comma, this happened. Or, yeah, because it's not a dependent clause. It would just be a non-essential. Then you would have to have, after this comma, you'd have to have an independent clause, and this would have to be a dependent clause. And that is not what you have. Decided she'd had enough of people snapping photos, da, da, da. There's no subject, so that could not be, this is not accurate. Do you have any questions still? I think I went into that in a decent amount of detail, but if there's anything I skipped over that you're not comfortable with, please let me know. And that's for anyone watching. If any of this wasn't clear, feel free to say something now. But otherwise, I think Levi's going to come up. Makes perfect sense. Great. All right, leave word.
Yes.
vocabulary and context.
Yes, sir. Gonna lag, maybe.
Okay, he's pulling up the overlay. Sometimes I go out.
Hey, CV Turtle, how was the reading section for you? Did they say that?
Someone said they really did well on it. Or they
I think that was JetBlue.
Maybe JetBlue did.
Yeah. But reading section, SAT and ACT, the main thing, actually, the main one they have in common is vocab and context. They now do the same exact thing. You don't need to know
vocabulary words.
You need to know context. You need to know vocabulary in that context. And that's what we're doing here. So this is the type, unfortunately, this test doesn't have adjectival vocab words. Let's see, I didn't take the ACT last Saturday. I did take a full, ooh, did you? Which one, by the way, did you take? Was it one of the official ones more recently, or was it the CPRE? Okay. Actually, Brendan, can you make that full screen?
Yeah.
Should have done it. As you answer that, ooh, no. It's as soon as I brought up the overlay, now the chat doesn't work.
Oh, I need to probably just click back on it.
Maybe that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. It went a lot better. April 2018. Okay. How is the vocab and context, and what is the approach you normally take for that, CV Turtle? Do you see it, say, okay, clearly vocab and context, and then you go back to the passage and see which one works best in there? Is that, you put it in and read it and see how it works? Which is more or less the only way to approach it. There's just a little bit more you can do. Or you can do it with a little more specificity. Cool. You plug each one in and choose the best one. Yeah, that's more or less what you're doing. I think that way is not... No way is foolproof, because you may just not know some of the vocab, so that hurts you. But the context is the most important part. They try not to ask questions where most people just won't know any of the words. They generally try to hit the middle of the road and hope, okay, you know most, if not all, of the words here. You just need to figure out which one works best. So in this one, we have line 19, the phrase paid out most nearly means. Okay, I don't want to read these words at all, okay? So don't read these. We need to go back to line 19 immediately and see what paid out, what purpose paid out serves. So Brendan, can we go back one? Actually, I could do it with the thing.
You can do it from there.
Do the buttons not work?
Oh, no, they don't. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I can give you the
cool,
mouse.
we're good here. Yeah, we're fine. Okay, I'm going to read the unmarked plane. I'm reading starting on line 14, going to line 19. The unmarked plains of the abyss, here flattened by layers of sediment, give way to rising foothills and then to mountains. The first maps of Atlantic seafloor noted, albeit crudely, this rise. Early efforts to plumb Atlantic's depths proved outrageously inaccurate. One naval officer paid out 8 miles, 13 kilometers, of hemp rope for a drifting ship and concluded that the sea had no bottom. Okay, so we had the word paid out, or the two words paid out, and it clearly is a verb. This naval captain pays out 8 miles of rope and then concludes there is no bottom to the ocean. So contextually, we know that he's throwing, it sounds like he's throwing rope into the ocean, and he knows how long the rope is, and it just never hits the bottom. He throws out 8 miles of rope, okay? And I have no idea what the answer choices here are. But paid out, I hear out, so that, throw out, something like that. This naval officer is throwing out rope and putting it off the side of the boat. That is what we're looking for. So let's go back to the answer choices. And my guess is, with the words paid out, it's going to put something about money or giving, which is not what we want. We want rope. So let's see. Dispensed. Okay, that means dispensing something. Doesn't have to be money, though. Ascertained. Okay. I know what ascertained means. If you don't, that's fine. You just leave it alone. If you don't know what the word means, you leave it alone. Suggested. Okay, no. Hopefully, if you don't know the word suggested, you're cooked, number one. But suggested doesn't work here. I have no idea why they put it. I don't even know how you could connect paid out to suggested. And I just don't know. So it's definitely wrong. So H is no good. And then compensated. Compensated is being paid, right? You're compensated for work. They pay out your wage. So that's their way of trying to get you, because you think, oh, great, paying, compensation, those are the same. But it has nothing to do with rope. You don't compensate rope down to the bottom of the ocean. We're trying to find it. If you don't know the answer, if you don't know what a word means, don't pick it unless you've gotten rid of all the other words. And then maybe you can figure out parts of the word that kind of work. But I think dispensed works best. You're dispensing something, you're giving it out, you're paying it out. The naval officer paid out rope. So that's a pretty straightforward one. I'm not saying that these are necessarily hard, but if you find yourself with two answer choices left, the context is there. We had to know that we're dealing with a boat, because I wouldn't know without that passage that paid out meant dispensed when it could have meant compensated, because, yeah, they paid out wages. Brandon, let's go to the next one. Did we get
question? Next passage, right?
Yes. Okay, maybe to the bottom. Okay, next one.
Oh, hold on, is there anything? Nope. All right.
Oh, there was. Yeah, okay, living space one.
33
yeah.
and...
Domain. Oh, 33. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like 33 better. Okay, good. As it is used in line 81 to 82, the phrase well-defended prey most nearly refers to prey that... So this is a little more complicated, because it's two words, one of which is a compound word, or a I don't even know, whatever. Well-defended prey is prey that something. So we're not trying to define prey, we're still talking about prey, but now we need to see what does well-defended prey mean? Because if you look at the answer choices here, hard outer shell, attack with a lethal bite, travel and attack in groups, and move quickly. These are all great ways to defend yourself. Maybe moving, you can move quickly and defend yourself. So all of these can be used to defend oneself if one is prey. Therefore, we have to go back to the passage. So, Brendan, can we go back?
Yes,
line 81 to 82.
There it is.
Okay. Ooh, trapjaw ants. Oh, yes, I remember this one. Okay.
Oh, they're impressive.
Yes, they are. Several... Ooh, what do we got? B24. Got it. I don't... Xvex. 1, hello. How are you?
Hey.
And 2, B24 was trash. Is that April 2018? Or are you talking about...
Today.
At the ACT
Yesterday.
2 days ago. Anyway. Oh, I can't even read it from there. Okay. 81 to 82, we have... Let's start reading a little earlier. Several lineages of trapjaw ants have independently hit on the tactic of storing energy in their jaws to penetrate well-defended prey. Okay. So, if you were to read this whole passage, it's about these trapjaw ants that store energy in their jaws and then snap and kill and pulverize and puncture their prey, which is dope, number one. But number two, they are not the prey here, so don't get confused. They're not prey in this situation. They use these jaws, the energy in their jaws, to penetrate well-defended prey. Therefore, so we are penetrating well-defended prey. So what kind of well-defended prey do you need to penetrate? Well, I think D was moving quickly. Moving quickly has nothing to do with penetrating that prey. Why that doesn't really connect. So Brendan, can we go back to or forward to the questions? Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. So here we have hard outer shell. I like it. I really like it, actually, because if you have a hard outer shell, maybe a trapjaw ant will need to store more energy to penetrate that shell. Whereas attack with a lethal bite, that's interesting. We're going to come back to that. C, travel and attack in groups. There's nothing about groups, so that's just unrelated. And then they move quickly. No, I don't care if they move quickly. Wow, I'm just so bad at that. Okay, so quickly is irrelevant. Traveling in groups is irrelevant. Attack with a lethal bite. Now that's what trapjaw ants do. They have that pretty powerful bite, and then we also have hard outer shell. But they're talking about prey here, not the predator. The trapjaw ant is the predator. So this is when you're getting jumbled. This is what they will do. B, if you're moving quickly, you say, well-defended prey, great. Okay, trapjaw ant, oh, big lethal bite, that's what they do. B. No, the answer is A, because that's actually talking about the prey. The trapjaw ant is not the prey. There we go. Okay, what do we got here, Xvex? We got some pretty colors, and then we have... with a -5, 35 English, and -4, 35 reading curve. So it was hard. Wow, yeah, that is hard. -5 in English is a 35? That is unusual.
That's impressive. Well, that reading curve is a much more...
That's insane. I have never seen that before.
Yeah.
Or aside from, I guess, that test. Was an experimental form. Yeah. It seems like the ACT is trending harder and the SAT is trending easier, but with a harder curve.
Because, well, that's what happens when it's easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't like. I would prefer harder
More
questions
difficult.
and then having a little bit more room.
Forgetting curve.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha, expects.
Alright.
Oh, it was given this Saturday? Wait, are we talking ACT or SAT? I'm confused. Oh, wait, this is ACT.
That'd be ACT. 35 and 35.
Oh, sorry. I read this SAT as this SAT, not Saturday. Got it. Okay. My bad, expects. Okay. Let's do 37 now, and then we can open up to other questions, debriefing more fully about the test, that type of thing. Line 31 and domain. Don't really care about anything else. So, Brendan, can we go back to line 31?
Should be here.
Still trap jaw ants.
No.
There we go, down at the bottom. Lovely. Okay. The biomechanics of energy storage is the domain of Sheila something. Sheila and Patek and this other dude, both biomechanists, biomechanists, right? Biomechanists?
I want to say mechanists.
Whatever. Machinists. I think it's biomachinist. Well, you say
no.
Well, you say mechanic, but I think you say machinist.
There's no I for machine there. That is not machine.
That's true. But I want to put an I in.
Alright, here we go. Hold on.
Okay, so let's go back to the... Can you go back to the... Okay, I'm waiting.
Dang it, I want biomechanist.
I think it's biomachinist.
Biomechanist.
Okay, so it was the first thing that I sort of said by accident.
Alright.
Anyway, this is the domain of these people. Okay, so we have A is living space, B is area of expertise. Yes, very good on the never mind there, XFX. Taxonomic category, no, we're not doing taxonomic category. That's pretty funny.
I hate everyone now.
Where's the guy with the big traps? He is behind the screen, but his traps are very close to the screen. C, okay. C. I'm crossing out C. I don't like C. Is the question you don't know what taxonomic means? Or... Anyway, local jurisdiction. Taxonomic is...
Like animal kingdom stuff?
Yeah, it has to do with animal kingdom stuff.
Like the classifications of like
Yeah.
where they're at, homo, sapien, all that.
It's categorization stuff. What is the...
Genus and...
When you're stuffing deer heads and stuff?
Taxonomy.
It is taxonomy.
Yeah.
But it's coming from the idea of like categorizing all the animals in the kingdom and putting them in your little, whatever. Okay.
Displays.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? I don't want to get rid of that. I'm going to leave that there. So we have these two people. I actually think we need to go back. I think that A is wrong. Well, actually, sorry, not quite yet. So I don't like A. I think it's a good wrong answer because it's living space. And I was actually thinking that might be right because...
Taxidermy.
Yeah.
There's the words you wanted.
Taxidermy, right. Taxonomic is different. You think no taxonomy. That's fine. That's fine.
No. As in, the word I said was taxonomy for some reason, but it is taxidermy.
Taxidermy, yeah, that's what we're thinking. Okay.
Thank you.
So living space doesn't work. I was thinking that at first, actually, before I went to the passage, because I was thinking we're talking about these ants and where they live, so it's their living domain. But that's not what they're saying. It's saying the domain of these scientists. And then we have area of expertise, which is good. I like that. That's generally good. But maybe it's not specific enough. Actually, no. Taxonomic category means that we are talking about the category in which these two scientists are. So we don't care about their taxonomic category. So that's actually not the right way to talk about that. And then local jurisdiction. I don't like the word jurisdiction too much. I'm willing to go back, but jurisdiction generally has to do with where people have power and influence, and it's not that's a little off. Normally, that has to do with policing and things like that, and
Well, let's look at it, right? Why not?
law stuff. But let's go back. Let's just make sure. I'm going to read starting at when right here, line 28. When released, the energy stored in the bow wings, what? In the bow
wings of the arrow.
In the bow wings of the arrow, the arrow toward its target
Wow.
much fat. What does that even mean?
I don't know why you said of.
Well, I thought you said of.
Wings, the arrow toward its target much faster. Wings is the verb.
Wings is the verb. Okay.
That's weird.
When released, the energy stored in the bow wings the arrow toward its target much faster than the archer could by throwing the arrow like a javelin. The biomechanics of energy storage is the domain of Sheila and this other guy. So we're talking about biomechanics of energy storage. So the study of energy storage, how it works, is the domain of these people. So that is the area of expertise of these people, because then after it goes into what they study within that and how they get it and think about it. So B is the right answer. Area of expertise. Again, I'm not saying these are hard. They definitely get really hard really fast if you don't know the words. But barring that, I think it's good, regardless, it's good to take this approach, and barring you not knowing multiple of the answer choices and what they mean, it is a question of going back and reading. You can turn off the overlay now, thank you. It is very much a question of, you can turn off the overlay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It is definitely a question of going back and reading. It's not a hard thing to do, to go back and check the context, but it is always safer to do context. Yeah, it would be a nice curve. You got -4 for a 35. Isn't the ACT getting sued for that too? I don't know. I actually don't know. We've done that. We've done commas around names. Anybody else have any questions? XFAC, do you have questions about any of the sections? You know, anything? Math is generally easier to remember and actually more recreatable than the other sections. Well, math and English are pretty good. Science and reading are much harder to. About tests, any the tests you took recently? Do you have any the practice test you did? Wait, no, sorry. Who took the practice test this weekend? Was that?
Ooh, CB Turtle. And they
CB
got a
Turtle.
question I really want to do.
Oh, CB Turtle posted a question.
They said no rush to get to this, and I just want to laugh like, oh, I'm doing it. It's an ellipse question. I like these.
You love ellipse questions.
I know, and I used to hate them. Okay, CB Turtle, don't worry, I'm not gonna rush, but I'm gonna do it. Also, CB Turtle, you posted here. Say something in the chat so I know I'm not doing this without you. Poorly drawn ellipse. Check. Let's do that again. All right, Levi, do you mind clicking on that and actually hold on? For some reason, this thing doesn't want to go today. Okay, there you go. Something in the chat. Perfect. So we have this at 3005. There you go. That's what we know. And they give us, just scroll. Okay. The ellipse shown here has the equation x minus 3 squared over 9 plus y minus 5 squared over 25. Okay. Equals 1. And they're asking, which of the following ordered pairs are the foci of the ellipse? All right, one of them is a focus, two of them are foci. They give us these options. I'm not too worried about it. However, given the values you have, you can go ahead and immediately start to eliminate some of these. So, CB Turtle, I went over the equation of ellipse and how to solve for this the other day, and I'll actually go through and solve this in a second. But things you can do if you're unaware or not sure, if you don't remember the equation, the foci are going to be roughly here and here. Roughly. They're going to be on this center line that I'm drawing, not to scale apparently. Foci? Yes?
Yep, that's just, maybe they don't know what it is.
Foci? Yeah, so a foci for an ellipse, you have a focus point here and a focus point here. The two of them together are foci. And yes, that is how you would spell it if that was the question.
But it's pronounced foci.
It is not. It is not Italian, and there needs to be two C's. So foci are what you're looking for. If you remember just this, that they're going to be inside the ellipse, you can get rid of most of these. Because, for example, let's see, B is going to be 3, 0. So B is here, so B's wrong. C is also there, that's wrong. D could be right. A is wrong, and E, 3, 5, is wrong. I think it's going to be D, without having done any work. Well, XVEX, it might be easy for you if you are familiar with it. Yeah, since you taught me. But yeah, if you're not familiar with foci or how to find the focus, anything like that, it can be quite difficult. And it's not even, yes, the way to solve for this is not difficult. It is just something that you may not be familiar with, which makes it seem very difficult at the time. So my guess is going to be that this is D, because a lot of the other ones I can just rule out. So I'm looking for 3, 1, and 3, 9. But we'll get to that in a second. That's what I want this to end up being based on eliminating the other answer choices. The way to find this is we're going to say C, some value C, is going to be equal to the absolute value of 9 minus 25. I like taking the absolute value when I subtract these. Otherwise, you're going to put 25 minus 9. You just want a positive value. All right? So C squared. So C squared equals 16. No. Yeah. Levi, can you keep scrolling for me? Just click it. Click the mouse. Oh, it didn't work. Never mind. I misread the question. Asked you to reflect. Oh, yep. Those can be difficult. So at this point, I know that C is going to be 4, right? Square root these. CB Turtle, are you following along? Is there anything I've done here that is a little too quick, a little out of the blue, something you're not familiar with? Let me know and I can stop. We know that the center of this circle, the center of this ellipse is going to be 3, 5. You don't see why you're doing the square root of 9 minus 25. So in the equation for an ellipse, when you're solving for, or the general equation for ellipse is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals 1, and this is over a squared and b squared. Let me get out of the way. And then we have that c squared equals a squared minus b squared, or c squared equals b squared minus a squared, depending on which is bigger, right? One of these is going to be correct. The bigger one is going to be first, so I just do an absolute value and don't worry about the ordering, but it's the same principle. And we're getting to why C is important in just a second. Does that make sense, CB Turtle? Levi, can you?
They said yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So what we know then, great, it makes sense, is we end up with a C of 4. But what do we do with that value? Well, we actually are going to take it and go from the center and go 4 in either direction. Now, if this was a horizontal ellipse instead of a vertical one, and it's just vertical because it's stretched larger this way, right? B, this value under y, is larger, so it's vertical. Whereas if this was larger than this, it would be horizontal. We know that our y value is the one that's going to be changed or manipulated to give us our new coordinates for the foci. Which is why I've written this out where I know that I'm staying at 3. What I do then is I now say it's 4, or if it helps, you can think about it as a plus or minus 4. Because you're taking it and you're going to be adding it and subtracting it to 5. So I'm subtracting it and I'm going to get 3, 1, right? Something about there, and then I'm going to get 3, 9, because I'm adding it, which is going to be something up there. Probably a little lower and a little higher, but generally that's what it's going to look like. What I said earlier is this is what it was going to be. right? Because looking at the answer choices, all of those answer choices were on the edge of the ellipse or outside of it, right? Which enabled me to not actually have to spend much time on this. Oh, it's just you. Which enabled me to kind of just cut past all of this. Put some in the Discord. Great. But does that make sense as well, CB Turtle? Kind of the strategy I did to be able to eliminate A, B, C, and E. Let's see. Everything I did. Yeah. Great. If there are any more questions, guys, let us know. Our hardest English question. Well, ask us the ones you don't know, and we'll answer them for you.
That we've seen. Oh.
I don't keep track. I know I've seen some nasty ones, but it's not like they're impactful enough to me as a person that I've remembered them. Levi, do you mind pulling that down?
Yeah.
So just see which ones are inside the circle, and if that doesn't work, use the equation. Yeah, pretty much, CB Turtle. At least on that one, there was only one of those sets that was inside the circle. And if you, just by knowing that it's a horizontal, or sorry, a vertical stretch on the ellipse, you know that your x values for both points have to be the same, which would have also disqualified a couple of those. There's a number of things like that that can help you kind of get to the answer. Don't have any on you? Well, we got time.
Lagging.
Did they pull up a question?
No. They want us to pull up a question. Okay, what
Karen
what do you want?
Mishra. CSTXGS. I don't know. Hi, Karen. You have any questions or anything you want to know on the SAT, ACT? You just scrolled that all the way up for me. When you accidentally click there. Okay. Just pull some up.
That's a good question.
Anyway.
Any of these catch your fancy? X-Vex? Karen, ideally just English in the chat. I have no idea what that means.
I don't know. Yeah, X-Vex, you can go below and check out. Well, this is not the. This is. You did switch this, right?
To
The overlay is 72 at CPRE?
Yeah.
Yeah, XVEX. Just go below to the linked test, scroll through there, and find one that you think is difficult. Also, has CB Turtle posted any more yet or no?
I haven't seen yet.
I think
Karen, also, we know who we see your comment, so hello. Maybe you're just saying that, but hello. Yes, it seems like no new questions yet from CB Turtle, but it takes time. These things take time. 6, J. Bump. Hump? Bump? I think it's bump. Bump. Other water vapor molecules bump into the hexagonal structure. Yeah, bump. Okay. So it's definitely going to be bump versus bumps because we have a subject that is plural, so that's good. Yeah, bump, and then let's just make sure that it's supposed to be present tense. So we have during the flake's descent, so there's no other verb in there. Snowflakes begin, yeah, so present tense, therefore bump is correct, good. And then
CB Turtle has some questions.
CB Turtle has some questions. Subject-verb agreement, ooh, that's what you like. Okay, so 3D, can you make this full screen for a second? Just so I can read more easily, thank you. Okay, so 3D, that they form, suggests that they form through different, so we have, I don't like B, and I don't like A, because, actually, so for this independent clause, the seemingly triangular shape of those snowflakes suggests that, so we have this, this next little phrase, we're suggesting that something, we need another verb there, so we have that they form, good, yes, they form through a different process. Yeah, there you go. So subject-verb agreement, we can, I think maybe you were saying subject-verb agreement was number 6 and number 3, sort of, more number 6. Unless, XFX, are you asking for more subject agreement questions, which is cool. Brendan, you can take off the overlay. We could do some CB Turtle stuff.
Yeah, you're going to like them.
Oh, yeah?
Let me do the math one. Let me do the math one.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that question at some point.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, the Terra Bone Terra Mines. It means good earth mine, by the way.
Is that French?
Yeah. Oy. There you go, XFX. Yeah, no, XFX, it's great. If you can identify question types that easily, that is ideal, because then you're always checking for exactly the same thing. You identify the question type, recognize what you're supposed to do it. Okay, so Bone Terra Mine stuff. We're doing, do you want 16 and 17? Oh, both of them. Great. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, this is in the Discord, which is linked below or to the side of the video, wherever the links are, the things in the description. Okay, I'm going to read this paragraph here. In 1962, one of the main producers of lead in the United States for almost a century, the Bonne Terre mine in Bonne Terre, Missouri, was shut down due to failing profits. With equipment and tools still deep within the mine, the entrance was boarded up. The pumps that had... okay, so we have F, which is no change. We have tools still deep within the mine. We have still deep within the mine. So commas and parentheses. So, with equipment and tools. Okay, so here's the sentence, essentially. With equipment and tools still in the mine, the entrance was closed. Right? This is our independent clause, so that's what I want to start with. If you ever see any punctuation, maybe you don't have to figure out for apostrophes, but even then, find your independent clause. It's at the end. The entrance was closed. That is the independent clause in this sentence. So everything else is not necessarily non-essential, but this is the thing. So with all this stuff in the mind, the entrance was closed. Now, do we want to put... I want to look at G, because G is the most different from the rest of them, and it has parentheses, which are pretty easy. So this says we're going to have parentheses around still deep within the mine. Parentheses means you can take them out, and it's non-essential. So if we take that out, we have with equipment and tools, the entrance was closed. That doesn't work. This is not non-essential. It is essential, because if we take this out, this implies that we use the equipment and tools to close the entrance of the mine. That's not what we want to say. We want to say they left the stuff in there when they closed the mine. Can you scroll? I can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah. Yes, exactly. There we go. That's a splice. What's a splice? I see no splice, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there's any comma splice here. Unless there's another splice. That was a movie. I feel like that was a horror movie with weird babies or something.
Splice?
Yeah.
It was definitely a horror movie.
I just remember weird babies with like odd pupils and things.
Maybe.
Anyway, not going to be on the test.
Wow.
More scrolling, please.
No, nothing. There's nothing.
Okay. You're being dumb. Wait, what? Well, no. Yeah. Okay. Good. At least you identified that you're making mistakes. Then we have, so the parentheses don't work. That's no good. Now, we want to use some commas here. That's what we're left with. So where would we put commas here? We have an independent clause. This was the first practice test I got a 30 plus on. Oh. And what was the practice test on which you learned how to not end sentences and prepositions, XFX? Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that much shade. Although throwing shade about grammar is just whatever.
Pretentious is what it is.
It's pretentious, but we're tutors.
We're tutors, so
it's
not.
We get paid to be that way. So let's do the commas on either side. Let's do H. This is the same thing as with the parentheses. That's what those commas would be doing. So that's, again, no good. So I don't like that. Now we can also do this. Ooh.
Levi, if they see G and H, they can just not do either of them. Because they're the same thing.
They're the same thing, unless those commas were maybe doing separate things, but that's not happening here.
Sure, it's worth checking.
And then, yeah. And then we could have a comma here or a comma there. I don't get the point of the comma here, because we want to say the equipment and tools are still in the mind. We want to have that be one thing. Doing ACT English is therapeutic. I do fully agree with you, XPEX. ACT English it's so long. It's so nice that it's 75 questions. It's just, you get to settle in and just hammer away at comma rules.
Nah.
It's a lot of fun. Got it. That's the best tip I was ever taught. What? Sorry. The two things being the same, or the commas taking stuff out, or what? Anyway, we don't want the comma here because with equipment and tools still in the mind, this is all one thought. There's no point in breaking it up. It's not listing, it's not comma fanboys, it's not DC comma IC, and it's not non-essential. So I like the comma here.
Hey, chess guy.
Chesky, chess guy, chess sky, whatever, however you self-identify. I like the comma here. What this does is it makes this entire thing a non-essential. Not that, I mean, the most important thing is the entrance was closed. If you take this part out, the sentence is still saying the same thing, but we're adding this whole big piece of information in. But we need to separate this from the independent clause, because commas are used to demonstrate to the reader where the independent clause is, for the most part. That's what's happening. We're separating that from that. If we didn't, then it would be with equipment and tools still in the mind, the entrance, which we need to pause. We need to take a break and then move on. Oh yeah, if they're the same, you can cross off both. Yes, as long as they are actually the same. So it works with, definitely works better with dashes, 2 dashes and 2 parentheses. Works well with periods and semicolons. Yeah. Type of thing. You want to do your... Oh, wait, no, there's one more with this same passage, so might as well.
No, it's further along. Let me do the math one.
Okay, good point, yes. I thought it was the same thing.
No, let's give them a break.
From what?
Not math.
XPEX finds it therapeutic.
Well, then they can go and do it on their time.
Right, instead of paying us a lot of money to do it, right?
Like they're obviously doing to watch us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no. Okay, CB Turtle. This matrix question. Let's dig into it. Let me grab this. Oh, no. Okay, English is much better than math. That's just like your opinion, bro.
But your opinion is correct.
Does that mean you're better at English? Because if so, then you really should enjoy when I go over math. Because you need, right? Because if you're worse at it, you should practice it more. Anyway, Valley High School and Mountain Hill High School have decided, have decided the selected students will attend a daytime theatrical performance. They cost $5 for each teacher and $3 for each student. So 5 and 3. That is for a teacher. Student. All right, so for Valley High, there's going to be 1 teacher and 10 students. So 1 teacher and 10 students. From Mountain High, you're going to have 2 teachers and 25 students. Which of the following matrix products represents the ticket cost in dollars for each high school? This one is, well, it's question 57, so that's probably why it's fairly difficult. On this one, you have to actually be able to... you have to know how to multiply matrices. You don't necessarily have to do it. You don't have to perform the operation here. But knowing how to is going to make this question a lot less complicated. So one thing you should be aware of is that you want to separate, and they have done this for you, but you want to separate your units. So in one of these matrices, if you're multiplying 2 matrices, you can think about it as your money multiplied by your teachers or students, so your people. Written, as we've all done in shorthand, texting PPL for people. Great. Now, they're going to be multiplied, right? So you're going to multiply your dollars by your students or teachers. You know you can find a value here. The value itself that we get here doesn't actually matter. We want to know which one of these is going to work out for matrix multiplication. So if we have, let's just go ahead and write this out. How would we have to have this look? Right, so on our dollars side, we're going to have either A and B or A and B. And I'll go ahead and actually write the values here. It's going to be 5 and 3 or 5 and 3. The rule to multiplying matrices, though, right, and this is going to be multiplied by something over here or something over here. What I know about matrices, if I'm going to multiply A times B, the two, so this is going to be, let's say this is this one, so this is a 1 by 2. This has to be a 2 by something. These values have to be the same. All right? If it were, let's say, C times D, and let's say C is this one, so I have a 2 by 1. This has to be a 1 by something. Right? I actually don't care about the first and last dimension of the arrays, or of the matrices, sorry, to multiply them. So let's go ahead and look at some of these answer choices. If I have, let's just look at this one. So A through C look like this, and they have to be multiplied by something that is at least 2 by something. So, you know, bop, bop, or something like that, or so on and so forth, right? So A, B, and C, in terms of will it multiply, they are all good. But D and E won't, right? Because we have a 2 by 1, and then we have 2 by 2s, right? And if it's a 2 by 1 and a 2 by 2, these two values don't add up, so they're done. So already, we know that it's only going to be A, B, or C. All right? From there, let me go ahead and clean this out of the way now. From there, there's a couple other things I'm worried about. And these are all written, yeah. These are all showing it in a 2 by 2 matrix. Oh no. Hey, encryption. Thanks for liking us on YouTube. Why is this not going? Oh, that's dumb. All right. Then we have a couple of different options here. We have 1, 2, 10, 25. 1, 10, 25, and 2. Or 1, 2, 25, and 10. CB Turtle, are you following? You still here? Also, whoever else is not 100% on matrices, if you have any questions, let me know. Pretty sure you picked the bottom one, and yes. Okay. So if we're going to multiply matrices, let's go ahead and make, since these are all going to have the same operation, let's say we have a 1, 2, and I'm multiplying that by a, and I'm going to write it above here. Let's say A, B, I do want this to be values. 1, 2, 3, 4 matrix. So I like writing it like this because it helps me think about the fact that I'm multiplying these two and then multiplying these two. So the resulting matrix is going to be, so a 1 by 2 and a 2 by 2 is going to give me a 1 by 2 multiplied by a 2 by 2 is going to give me a 1 by 2 matrix. So one row, it's going to end up giving me a matrix that looks like that. So I'm going to say 1 times 1 plus 2 times 3. That's actually going to, I can write that larger so you guys can see it, sorry. A 1 times 1 plus 2 times 3 is going to be the first entry in that array, that matrix. And then I'm going and multiplying this and that, and I'm going to get 1 times 2 plus 2 times 4. All right. So just in terms of what's being multiplied by what, that's how we're going to figure out how this works. So $5 we said goes to teachers and 3 goes to students. And we say we have 1 teacher and 10 students and 2 teachers and 5 students. So my 5 should eventually be multiplied by a 1 and by a 2. So we said the 5 is effectively going to be multiplied by the 2 top values. Right? Here and here and here and there. Right? Because the 1 is only multiplied by the values on top. Knowing that, let me have my face here. Knowing that, I can already eliminate these. Because the 5 is going to be multiplied by 1 and 2. The only one where the 5 is being multiplied by the 1 and 2 is the first matrix, which I believe is option A. CB Turtle, does that make sense? Anyone else who's watching, this question is in our Discord. CB Turtle has posted it in our Discord. You can find it there. Great, that clears things up. Good. All right. Do you want to do CB Turtle's other question?
Yes.
I haven't really looked at it. I was doing this one.
Nor have I, to be honest.
All right.
I didn't know CB Turtle. Oh, sorry, the English one. Sorry.
Yes. Also, if there are any other questions on matrices or anything like that, let us know. We can. I covered it pretty well right here, I guess, but definitely could have gone more in depth. Also, and Levi, you can go ahead and start this, but you may have noticed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, I mean, it's
okay.
Almost 9:20.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
okay, everybody. We now have a sponsor that's not us.
So our picture is there occasionally as well for
Yes.
our one-on-one tutoring, but...
Yeah. But this is Alta Ipsum. And, no longer is Alta Ipsum, but it was, and it will be in about 30 seconds. Alta Ipsum it means in, Greek or Latin? I think Latin. In Latin, it translates to summit yourself, which means to make yourself better. It's an online executive functioning application, so you can use it on your phone and on the computer. It allows you to track your grades, to plan, to organize, and what you can do is you can put a test in or a term paper in that's due whenever it's due, and if that's 3 weeks out, it will create a study plan for you. So it'll say, okay, Tuesday night you should work on it for an hour, and then Saturday work on it for an hour and a half, things like that. It'll set that up and then allow you to customize it from there so that you can get things done on a timely basis. Mm-hmm. And then it does the grade tracking and other organization things as well, which is really, really, really useful.
Yep, you can also use it as a calendar, so you can plug in the fact that we stream 5 nights a week and have it in there, and it'll remind you, hey guys, go and watch Nerdish on these nights. Yeah.
Every night.
It'll remind you, yeah.
But do it every night.
Set it up so you watch us every night. That's how you can get the most bang for your buck. Because we're free, but, it's still, as rates go. Anyway.
Yeah.
You got the question?
I do.
You want to write up while I read it?
I'm going to write very little.
So, Japanese immigrant Izuka Masahara adopted the name George Masa in 1915 when he took a job as a bellman at an upscale hotel in Asheville, North Carolina. And immigrant, Izuka Masahara is the underlined portion. And there is currently commas around Izuka Masahara. We'll see what the different options here are. It's also mostly comma questions.
Yes. Unsurprisingly, we have another comma question. Comma questions are difficult. There are given commas here. This is actually very much like what Brendan was talking about before. We have commas on either side, on one side, on the other side, on nothing. If we put them on both sides, that, it's not listing, it's not DCIC, it's not comma fanboys. This would be this would be 2 non-essential commas, getting rid of this non-essential. Yep. So let's take it out, see how it works. Japanese immigrant adopted the name George Masa. No, we don't actually have a good subject here. This is a title, right? Japanese immigrant something. Student CB Turtle takes the ACT. right? You can say it's like a
Ooh, it
like a
is two
newspaper
eyes.
title.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading.
Yeah,
It is
I don't
two
know
eyes.
why it's 2 eyes.
Japanese has that often. It's
Oh, it's
just
a
you
thing.
you hold it longer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have like a certain character they do to show that you have multiple vowels.
Cool. So
Together.
I don't like the commas on either side. But
Boom,
I don't like the commas on just one side or just the other. There's no actual point to it.
Mm-hmm.
The general thing you want is nothing. You don't want any commas necessarily. You want to just say this person adopted the name, right? Izuka Masahara adopted the name George Masa. And now we are titling Izuka Masahara as Japanese immigrant Izuka Masahara. Nothing needs to be done here. No commas. Does this make sense? This is like what Brendan was talking about before. I think this was CB Turtle. You happy with this, CB Turtle? Make you happy?
I think JetBlue might have been the one who asked the previous question about this, and I don't know if CB Turtle was here yet.
Oh, okay. So CB Turtle, does this make sense? Who knows if you... Oh, okay. So just that. Oh, and then you're saying this is the non-essential? This is not a good enough descriptor of Izuka Masahara. You need Izuka Masahara, a Japanese... You would need a, right? Because Japanese immigrant, you need the indefinite article. You could have the, so you could the Japanese immigrant or a Japanese immigrant, Izuka Masahara. You need that article here to do this. This is, I think of this, these are titles. So President Donald Trump does something. You don't need President, comma, Donald Trump does something. Right? You would say the President, comma, Donald Trump, maybe comma, depending on what you want. Does that explanation make sense? Japanese immigrant Izuka Masahara, not Japanese immigrant Izuka Masahara adopted name.
Right, it'd be
Okay.
the Japanese immigrant.
Yeah. And if you were to do the or a Japanese, the Japanese immigrant Izuka Masahara, even here, I don't want the comma. You could feasibly put it like that so that Izuka Masahara is a non-essential, but I would prefer it here. So I would do no commas. So be very, very careful about commas around names, around people. It's very often that there's a title. So it could be 1920s sculptor George Apple, whatever. 1920s sculptor George Apple won the prize.
That's vague.
This is fun. Yeah, the prize. Yeah, the prize is vague. What prize? Who knows?
Yeah.
This is a full sentence. 1920s sculptor George Apple won the prize. You don't want any commas here. If you do the, or maybe a 1920s sculptor won the prize, you could have that, so have commas on either side here. Or, feasibly, you could do this, and then this would be your non-essential. George Apple won the prize, and then a 1920s sculptor describes George Apple. This is the non-essential. But that requires this article here. If you don't have the article a, an, or the, or something along those lines, you don't want the commas here because this is a title. Okay. Beat that horse dead several times. Anything else? Any other clarification questions on this? Other commas stuff? Commas are hard. If you can beat commas, you can beat the English section. That's what I think.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? There is so much to ask. There's so much knowledge to be gained. Where's the I can't see the chat and I don't know where the pen is either. Maybe it fell.
It's up on the thing.
Let me see that. Jeez. Oh, that's the wrong way. Oh, you got it? Okay. It's blocking the...
Okay.
We need to figure this out. Okay. When do I decide between a comma and a period? They are never interchangeable, so never. A period separates sentences, right? Independent clause, period, independent clause. You could separate two independent clauses with a comma fanboys, which is comma for and nor but or yet so. There are things that people mess up around here with regards to words like however and nevertheless and things like that. Those are not good enough words to help a comma separate independent clauses. You need one of the 7 coordinating conjunctions, which is the technical term for the fanboys. So, if we were to have the sentences, let's do, and let me know if this is what you are asking specifically. Brandon laughs. Levi smiles. I smile. Okay. Brendan laughs, subject verb. I smile, subject verb, independent clause, independent clause. So, we can put a period here. That's fine. 2 separate sentences, we just chop them up. We could also do comma and. Brendan laughs, comma, and I smile. We could do, but we can't do something like Brendan laughs, however, I smile. Now, if this looks good to you, no, it should not. This is wrong. This should not look good to you because, however, is not good enough. This is not comma fanboys. You need for and nor but or yet so. It's all those little words. Words like however and nevertheless and I don't know, simultaneously, any other word. It's not good enough. Now you could say Brendan laughs semicolon. However, how do you spell this word? Ever. However.
You just spell it however.
Very nice.
All right, sorry.
I liked it. I do not. So this is also an independent clause. I do not. Whatever. So this is fine. Maybe put a comma there. Don't necessarily need to. Brendan, would the however make the second one a dependent clause? Here, no. It doesn't. That's not what however does. However is a transition word contextually. It doesn't change anything. It's an additional, kind of non-essential part of a sentence. So this is no good. This is still a comma splice here because these are 2 independent clauses. Here, we have Brendan laughs, independent clause, right here. And then here we have our independent clause. This is our semicolon, which we are allowed to use to separate 2 independent clauses. And then this is a non-essential, or a positive, however you want to say it, that just is put right before I do not, but we need a comma there to separate it from the independent clause. We don't need a comma here because we already have this other punctuation. Does that make sense? By second one, did you mean second sentence or second phrase? So, however, I have seen trip people up many, many times on both the SAT and ACT with regards to that. There we go. You got me. Okay. Phrase in the top one, I assume. Yeah. No. This will not make it dependent. This is still an independent clause. We have 2 independent clauses separated by a semicolon. Very good. Good. Periods, semicolons, colons, and comma fanboys. Nothing else is allowed to separate independent clauses on the test.
All right, we are pretty much at time.
Oh yeah, we're pretty much at time.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, guys.
CB Turtle,
Thanks for tuning in.
thank you for the questions. We appreciate them. We're sorry we cannot compensate you for them, but we are trying our best to procure the funds to be able to pay you for your questions.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be a good time to make a joke about, like, if you tipped us, then we'd be able to pay you back.
Yeah.
If you paid us, we could pay you back for it. But
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, we are choosing to do this on a free service. On many free services, right? Free platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Joke's on us. All right. We will see you guys tomorrow.
No problem, CB.
Feel free to bring your friends. Make this a family, oriented thing,
Yeah, bring your parents, bring your pets, bring your exes, all of it. Bring everyone.
Your exes, your nows, your presents, your currents.
Your futures. Bring your futures.
Trading in
And
futures.
we will build them for you. Well, like future. Okay.
I'm just reading a book on the stock market now.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
pretty interesting.
You know what I don't like? I don't like the stock market.
After reading this, I understand why. A little bit, at least. It's messed up.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.
Have a lovely day. Lovely night.
You don't know where they
Lovely day.